What's going on with everybody? Welcome back to Coach Singh's channel. Now, today we're going to be reacting to the first round, and my goodness, there was so much to talk about. There were so many different trades. I mean, the Jets had 3 first-round picks. The Rams took a quarterback. What are they doing? And we obviously got to talk about the 49ers. So let's go ahead and talk about the 49ers first. Now, the 49ers traded back from the 27th spot. They were at, I think, 30 as well, too. And then they traded with the Jets. And then now they're in the second round. They're going to start things off tomorrow with the first pick. And honestly, I'm really happy they did that. I just got to be honest with you guys, because I think at the 27th spot, the way the draft was going, it was just too many options. You could have gone safety, you could have gone receiver, you could have gone edge, you could have gone offensive lineman, even though they never go offensive lineman this high in the draft. So I just think it was one of those spots where if there's so many options, why not just slide back and let's get some more picks later on, especially because you traded that 3rd round pick for Osa. So why not get some of that depth back? And that's exactly what they did. And I love that they did it not just once, but twice. Hey, I love it, because at this point, what is the difference between, look at the guys that are going, Keelan Rutledge, Chris Johnson, Caleb Lomu, Peter Woods, Omar Cooper. It's almost like the Patriots thought that we were going to take Caleb Lomu, so they felt like they had to slide up and go get him. Keldrick Falk, Jadarian Price, Omar Cooper. If they weren't locked in on Omar Cooper and Caleb Lomu, then why not just trade again? And I love that they did that, add more picks in. This is going to be such an exciting day too, if you're a 49ers fan, just to see who the hell are they going to stack onto this team with all of these picks. So shout out to the 49ers. Shout out to John Lynch. I mean, what a draft that was. I mean, what a way to handle this draft, in my opinion. What a way to go about it. Get some depth back and not just, be a prisoner of the moment and go get somebody. Now, for a second, I did think if Ruben Bain keeps on sliding down, man, even Caleb Downs for a moment, it might have been just a wishful thought, but if these guys are sliding down, you never know. At some point maybe they're going to trade up, and I'm just glad that they ended up making that trade back and doing it twice at that, man. So shout out to John Lynch and company. But yeah, let's go ahead and break down this whole draft real quick. So obviously we knew number 1, that was not a shocker. Number 2, though, I heard the rumblings and I can't believe it actually happened, but at the same time, I can, because he looks so goddamn good. Excuse my language. He looks so freaking good, David Bailey, that it makes sense. But I really thought Arvell Reese had locked in his number 2 spot with the way he looked at the combine. I was like, there's just no doubt that he might be the, next best player in the draft after, whatever Mendoza, honestly, overall best player, at that point, because Mendoza's also being taken off of a need. But Arvell Reese, I thought he really locked it in, but he ended up sliding to that 5th spot. But this was the one that shocked. I was like, wow, I can't believe this just happened. And you could tell my voice is a little bit shocked, because today was like, wow, we're just, yelling as well too. But Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals. Wow. I think this one got the Giants. It got, the Chiefs as well too, the Saints. Everybody that, had Jeremiah Love anticipated that he was going to be there. The Cardinals shake up the entire draft by doing that. And I'm just like, wow, I couldn't believe it. He got taken higher than Ashton Genty. So the Cardinals really love him. He's in our division now, if we're looking at it from the NFC West perspective. And this right here, I think, really shook up the board. It made a lot of guys drop that maybe weren't supposed to drop. And, who knows from there. But what a time, though, man. Jeremiah Love taking that high to the Cardinals. And then Cardinal Tate to the Titans said, okay, they locked in. They believe in this receiver. I know he was mocked there as well too a lot, either there or the Giants. I thought maybe for a second, are y'all going to take Arvell Reese? But then he goes to the Giants. So shout out to John Harbaugh. I think they did a great job just getting the guy that fell to them and getting great value out of that. Like, anytime somebody falls and you're able to get them at that kind of spot like that, that's always awesome. And I had wondered for a second, if he slides just enough, would one of these teams up here try to just jump in and go get him? Similar to kind of how we were thinking about with Ruben Bain, but that was not the case at all. But that was the case with Mansour Delane. Holy shit, the Chiefs traded back up into the top picks. I think they had pick number 9, it was, swapped with the Browns. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if this is the case, they're either going for Ruben Bain, who's sliding, who slid like even more crazy. Gonna go get Caleb Downs. Oh my goodness, Caleb Downs on the Chiefs is crazy. And then they ended up drafting Mansour Delane. I was like, wow. So that must show the belief that they have in Mansour Delane to be that kind of corner that they're willing to, send some picks and then swap spots to go get him. And I think about it from the Browns perspective, this was a huge win if you're a Browns fan. absolutely massive win right here. You probably were going to take Spencer Fano at 6 anyway. Shit, why not just slide back two, 3 spots? Let's get some more picks, and we're still gonna get him. So I thought that was a phenomenal pick right there because they were gonna go probably offense no matter what to get help on that side, and instead they were able to slide back just a little bit and get more, depth with picks while still getting the guy that they want. Wow, that's phenomenal. Sonny Styles, I bet the Commanders were just like, hey, if he's there, best guy available, let's take him. Jordan Tyson, I think, is the best wide receiver in this draft. This guy has insane route running ability. I mean, I don't think this is one of those ones where you don't have to overthink it. The guy is gonna be an elite wide receiver. He's quick. He can get separation. Wherever team he was gonna go, he's gonna dominate. And I truly think that he is gonna do that as well too. Even though, who knows? Can Tyler Shough be good? He looked good towards the end of the season. Now they got Jordan Tyson. That's so exciting right there to see. So, shout out to them. I thought every team right here, I thought made the pick that they wanted, and they're also good picks. Obviously, I mean, you're not really gonna be. It's not too hard to miss in the top, 10 at that same time. But I think every team walked away being like, yes, we like what we got right here, including the Browns right here. And then, damn, dude, what a draft! Oh, so you get Arvell Reese on the edge on one side. And now you lock up your other side by getting Francis Mauigoa. And this is just phenomenal. You get 2 core players in this draft from trading Dexter Lawrence away. And now you're set on both sides. You got help for Jackson Dart. I mean, I think this is just a great thing. Like John Harbaugh and them, great spot right there. This is one of the best, like, double picks in the draft. But what's crazy is so many teams did good, like the Browns that we'll talk about, that they didn't even have the best double pick, but this is still elite as far as the double picks go. And 11, I think, Jerry Jones and them had traded back up into this or something, if I'm not mistaken. But makes sense because Caleb Downs is there. Go get him. Caleb Downs with a Dallas Cowboys star on his helmet is just so exciting. I mean, it just fits. It's like star guy fitting on, a star team. He's going to fit perfect in that market. The fans will love him. He'll be exciting to watch play. He'll go up against all these other good teams in their division as well, too. It's just good for football. I think when you have a player like that goes to one of these teams, and I'm saying that as a Niner fan, but it really just is, honestly. So I thought that was a great pick. Cowboy fans should be so excited that they were able to get Caleb Downs at 11 after going through this whole debacle, with Micah Parsons and whatnot. Caden Proctor, right here, I thought this was a reach. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought Caden Proctor is probably a guy that's gonna go more in the back end of the first, possibly even slide to the second. So the fact that they took him this high, to me, was a reach personally. But at the end of the day, all their boards are different. I'm not there either, so who am I to say anything? But I thought it was a much of a reach right there. But hey, y'all do what y'all gotta do, Dolphins. And they did come back in this, late first round to go get a cornerback as well too, which I also very much question that pick. Now the Rams, though. Rams, what is going on, Rams? What is going on? You got Stafford. You got this great roster. You could have added any of these guys to this team to go and win that Super Bowl this year, even possibly run it back again another year. You never know. But they went and got Ty Simpson. So what does this tell us? Stafford's probably done after this year. Ty Simpson, they drafted somebody that can't even help them this year. A quarterback from Alabama. Oh Lord, good luck with that. I can't even tell. Is it time for the Rams downfall? It might be. It might be time for the Rams downfall. We might be seeing the beginning. Once Stafford is done, good luck, Rams Nation. When they made this pick, I was like, oh my goodness, I think they're gonna do it. They're going to really mess up their franchise by doing this and mess up also not help themselves by adding someone this year to go win it when you got a draft that has a lot of these guys are 24, 25 years old. Like, and what I mean by that is these guys could come in and win now. What I thought was going to happen right here, I'm not even going to lie to y'all. If I was them, I probably would have drafted Ruben Bain at that point. If you gotta hear me out, because people are gonna be like, oh, well, they already got Byron Young, they got Jared Verse, you gotta hear me out. He fell all the way down to you. We're talking about best players available. Like, I was projected to go top 3, whatever the case may be. Jared Verse is great, But now you add another pass rusher, another, like, because Jared Verse isn't doing that much of the pass rush in that aspect, but he is, solid on the rundowns and whatnot. But now you add another player to this when you have this guy who's kind of all right, and you have another guy that's pretty good in Byron Young. You can never have too much of a defense. And I thought that would have made them really terrifying as far as the defensive line goes, with the fact that they added Trent McDuffie. On offense, they're gonna be solid no matter what anyway. So I'm just kind of like, dude, that would have been scary if they did that, because they would have just added so much more talent. But instead, they went quarterback. Unless Ty Simpson is like that. Now, Sean McVay is a great offensive mind. Who knows? They see something for sure. But I definitely would have gone for best player available at that point. Even Kenyon Sadiq, that would have been a nice addition right there. But I know they like their tight ends over there as well too. But man, Ruben Bain would have been sick to them. All pro right here for the Ravens, no, without a doubt. Olivia Guyone, lock it in. This guy, I think, could even be like a Hall of Fame type player. No joke. That might be a little bit too much, but this is a great pick. Lamar Jackson now will have so much more protection and have an even better run game as well too. So great pick by the Ravens, A+ type of pick. Kenyon Sadiq, all right, Jets, y'all building this team. Let's see what happens. That's what this pick is. Like, you took Vernon Davis, or he has that type of build. You took this great build of a tight end. All right, let's see what happens now in the next 3-4 years. Or is it gonna be like how Kyle Pitts has kind of been out there in Atlanta, where it's just been really, really, it just has not delivered. So Lions go offensive tackle, add to that offensive line. I think that was a solid pick right there. You got your core of your team. Why not just add to it? Caleb Banks. Now, this was interesting because I thought they would go safety right here, but they take Caleb Banks. Now, I thought that would shake this market up a little bit, make Lee Hunter get drafted in the first round, which he didn't end up getting drafted. The next one would be Peter Woods, but Caleb Banks this high, wow, even with the injury stuff that was just happening, it just shows you that the belief of how he looked at the Senior Bowl, how he looked when he was playing. This guy is an absolute game wrecker. He's honestly reminded me of Chris Jones a lot, just the way he's able to just go in there and disrupt. So, the Vikings might have gotten a dog. Who knows? Honestly, like, I think it could be a very great pick, but it also was a little high. So there's that, because I had him more going in the late, first round as well too. Monroe Freeling, another kind of pick, just like I'd say with the Lions, where they're kind of good everywhere. Now they're just getting even better at a weaker spot, and that's a great pick in my opinion. Eagles, Mekhi Lemon, they're doing it again. Great GM Howie Roseman. He knows what he's doing. They know how to build a roster. Goodbye, A.J. Brown, I think was what this is going to indicate. Probably the Patriots will end up trading for him. And now we'll probably end up seeing, him with Devontae Smith. And I think he's a dog. I think he's a great receiver. Amon-Ra Brown type receiver. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, with that being said, Eagles just know what they're doing. Like, they're like, all right, AJ Brown, now if he's gone, they got a replacement guy, right? So I think they're just doing a great job of just continuously retooling this roster to put themselves in a position, because this team is not really about the receivers, even though the receivers are elite. It's Saquon Barkley. I know he's only been there for like 2 seasons or whatever, but it's Saquon. That's the big difference. 21, Max Iheanacho, great pick. He has comparable measurables to Trent Williams. So I thought this was a great pick by the Steelers. It's more like the Monroe Freeling is the great, Blake Miller's the, just great pick, solid, add to this core, and just keep it going from there. And honestly, he might have the bet. He might even be better than both of these guys, if we're just being honest, because he has that type of athleticism that he showed. Akeem Mesidor. Now, it was interesting because I think a lot of people are upset about his age and stuff like that. But I think my thing is that a lot of these guys are old, and that's just what's going to happen, is that they're going to come out as 25, 24-year-olds, 23-year-olds most of the case, especially as time goes on because of the NIL case and whatnot. But if you're the Jets and the Raiders, I understand not drafting a 25-year-old. I understand you don't want to draft Ruben Bain. You'd rather draft David Bailey. I understand that 100%, because you're probably not even making the playoffs this year. And if you do, you would be excited about being able to do that. But the Chargers, you're not the Jets. You have been making the playoffs. You have your team. You have your coach. Like, there's not much more you're going to change with your core. So y'all got to hear me out on that part. They've made the playoffs multiple times. They have yet to win. I think Justin Herbert doesn't have a win yet, right? So you got a guy who is still pretty young. I mean, 25 is not that old in that sense, right? But he's also ready now. He's not going to come in as like a young guy that's not ready developed or whatever the case may be. He's going to come in ready to go, ready to contribute to a team that needs to win now. Because if the Chargers have another couple seasons where they just can't even get past like the first round, it's going to get scary for everybody there. But they have their core already. So I think with that being said, you add a veteran guy, and I honestly think they sniped the Cowboys. When I was watching the draft, it seemed like the Cowboys were taking a minute to decide who they wanted to go, and they decided, you know what, we'll just go with the next best edge because, yeah, they retooled their defense. They got Caleb Downs, and then they went and got another edge player. Solid. I think it's a great draft, honestly. And I think Akeem Mesidor would have been such a nice pick because they're also in that similar position. They have their quarterback. They have their core. You know what I mean? Like they have their players that they believe can deliver them a Super Bowl right now. And this applies to both of these teams. They have, those dynamics are set. So you're looking to add players that can contribute right now. Caleb Downs will do that. Akeem Mesidor will do that. So I think that's what's interesting about, that aspect. Casey Concepcion to the Browns. Phenomenal pick. What a draft. You traded back, got more picks, you still got your guy, and you retooled your offensive side of the ball because your defense is phenomenal. Now you've helped out Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, whoever the hell it may be that's going to be there. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Shedeur that's going to be the one that ends up emerging really out of it. Now you got a great tackle, his NFL family lineage. He'll be great, phenomenal. He'll be all pro potential. You got one of the best receivers in the draft, run after the catch, can do all of that stuff. So what KC is going to do is take so much pressure off of Shedeur to just be able to make hella plays easily. 5 yard out, take it and go. Screens, take it and go. All of a sudden he's down the field. You know what I mean? So I think this was a phenomenal draft. I think the Browns had the best first round in this year's draft, considering what they needed was help on the offensive side of the ball drastically. And they went and got two guys while making a trade to accumulate more draft capital. And they got two guys that can immediately come in and help Shedeur Sanders and take this team to another level with a really, really good defense. So shout out to the Browns. Best first round this year between all of the teams, especially that drafted twice. Especially like you got the Cowboys. And then you even got the Jets. I mean, I like the Jets where they're going. The only problem is we just don't know who their quarterback is. So it kind of makes it a little like the Browns, I think, are just a little bit obviously put together better, especially with their defense. Dylan Thieneman to the Bears. What a pick right here. That was a team need for sure by the Bears. Let me fix my focus. But that was a team need for sure by the Bears. Needed to add to their secondary, and they needed to be able to come in and add somebody that I think is also just going to be a fantastic dynamic playmaker. And so it's going to be interesting to see who was going to go first. Was it going to be Dylan or was it going to be Emmanuel McNeil Warren, who actually ended up not getting picked? And I was like, man, can we take him? Can we take him? I'd love to see him on the team, which we still could. So who knows? And I think with the way the Bears play, I think it's going to be very fun to see how they use him, especially with Caleb Williams and company and the way they're able to score a lot. You're going to see Dylan Thieneman have to play in that passing game versus a lot of high-powered teams in that NFC. Now, the Texans, I thought this was funny because they traded up so much. Now, don't get me wrong. They got their team need. They got an offensive lineman, specifically a white offensive lineman. You know what I mean? They got one of those country boys to come in there, and that's exactly what their fan base has been harping on for years. Is hey, get them offensive lineup, get them offensive lineup, and they went and got a guard. Now, I think they paid a big price to go get him, and they probably didn't even have to draft him in the first round. He probably was going to be there in the second round. I think it was still a reach, but at the end of the day, it's probably one of those, hey, our guy's our guy, we got to go get him, but still a reach nonetheless. Offense as well too, another reach as well too. I think there's plenty of other corners on the table. Jamal McCoy, Colton Hood, that I think Chris Johnson, I'm not sure, but maybe they know something that we don't. But then again, they also drafted Caden Proctor, who probably was going to be available right here. And he's probably going to be available in the second round, if we're just being honest. Patriots ended up trading up, and I think they thought the 49ers were going to take Caleb Lomu, so they had to slide up. I'm not sure why they thought that. They ended up taking Caleb Lomu, which I think is a really good pick, to be honest with you. They're probably going to end up trading for, what's his name? A.J. Brown because of the Mekhi Lemon situation. And I think now they just beef up their offensive line even more because it's not so much I think about them having to move Will Campbell to the inside, they could do whatever they want to do. I think it's still 5 offensive linemen at the end of the day. Like those guys are only 1 or 2 guys. You know what I mean? So you still gotta add to this offensive line in general. And that was still one of the biggest glaring weaknesses that we saw in the Super Bowl was just the offensive line. So why not just beef it up even more, especially if you know you're about to go add a big time superstar in AJ Brown potentially. Peter Woods. Now this is interesting, man. You added this guy to go in there along with Chris Jones. Let's see how this looks because that is going to be something to see on this defense is the fact that they were like, you know what, we're going to retool this team by adding an elite corner and an elite defensive tackle in their minds at least. So is it going to work? Man, the Chiefs are the Chiefs though at the end of the day. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. And it was interesting because they're also the opposite of the Browns in that sense too. Sorry, y'all, there's a fire truck coming by. But they're opposite of the Browns in the sense that the Browns went 2 offensive players, beef that side up, and then you got the Chiefs that go 2 on that side as well too. Omar Cooper, so they went and traded back in with the 49ers who traded out again. Shout out to them. I thought it was a great job. And they went and got Omar Cooper, take him off the board. Now with 2 offensive players and David Bailey, they're building a core, but who's going to be the quarterback, for the future? That's the big question over there. Keldrick Folks slid a lot, gets taken by Robert Saleh. I think they traded back in. So they get Carnell Tate, and then they also get an edge player to pair up with Jonathan Simmons. So I think they walk away feeling what they wanted to do and getting a guy that they felt probably slid back as well too, and still getting their, I think this was their number 1 player no matter what, Carnell Tate. Seahawks. I could be wrong, but that's a crazy reach. He probably would have still been there later on. And I think Mike Washington is the second best running back in his draft class. If I'm just being honest, I've been big on Mike Washington from the jump. And I just think the Seahawks should have maybe drafted a corner. Colton Hood, Jamal McCoy, and they didn't. It is what it is. But yeah, man. So shout out to everybody, man. Rounds 2 to 3 tomorrow. We'll do a live reaction as well too. Maybe I'll go live. But either way, I'll drop a reaction about the picks as well too. We'll break them down, see how they fit with everybody as well too. But y'all know what it is, man. Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, baby.